Hey everyone. So I've begun to record and thank you all for joining tonight. And of course, this goes into the chat that ones can listen to it later at their own convenience. So I'm going to start off with, let's say, where we're at now in this overall ascension, if you will. What I can say, what we know and what we feel is that we are in a very pivotal time. And what is known is that by I, and I've also got, feedback from other divine ones, that we're still in like this waiting period, um, meaning that we know significant, good, big things are coming that changes things very rapidly. Uh, and we see that momentum building on what we call the lower timeline in the matrix in reality. We see that building and building and building, which is a definite indicator, irrefutable indicator uh, that we know where it's leading to. It's leading to the heaven on earth scenario. So everything has to be revealed and exposed, but also the identity, if you will, of the culprits. And, from this perspective and from who and what I am, there is the actual evil, that is upon the planet. In the truth, it goes much deeper than these are not human. They are something else, if you will. They're actual evil, and they do not have the human souls. And there's also the mixture of, yes, aliens upon the planet as well. But having said this, we know this fully, and again, we're here divinely, and with this overall ascension, we would not even be this far if it was not guaranteed by just more than us divine ones on the surface. So, having said this, it is a tedious task, if you will, and it involves the patience of Job, if you will, to get things done. And but having said this, so much is culminating right now. And what I put out the other day and what we feel, also this period is so significant. But if I just go and put out the 13th and the 14th, there were significant celestial and divine signs that did occur. And, even within the numbers, it's imprinted uh, of what is actually transpiring upon the planet. Again, that it cannot be denied nor refuted. But having said this, when you look at all of the clues and the synchronicities that are actual tangible evidence that you can see that's recorded by the astrological and scientific communities and what have you, these substantiate fully of what we're saying. And not only those communities, we need to look at the theological and the religious communities and the prophecies and everything. So all of that writings in antiquity fully supports this time of the new age. So with that, there is no doubt. And I put a lot of this in there right now. I know all of us know it, but for the benefit of others, that may listen to this in the near future. So the ascension is ascertained. It's ascertained for all of us, and for the most part, for most of us, it's ascertained that we take the physical vessels forward. We are and have, let's say, had divine ones that have left the physical vessel behind and has ascended in another in the other way. But let me say that's the individual soul's contract, if you will. You need to look at it that way, that it's what the individual soul, has chosen. And it's also perhaps preordained, you could say, when they came here. And I'll take this a step out farther. If you look at the many deaths surrounding the vaccination and the mass genocide attempt upon the planet, what you really look at is that there's been many divine sacrifices by souls that have become the testimony and provided the testimony to the others through their death. How they were killed, if you will, by the vaccines. And it's got to the point now worldwide that it's substantial, that I would like to say almost every family or everyone upon the planet knows someone in their ring of friends or their family that has an untimely death, if you will. And once you put all the evidence together, it really points to what occurred if they've been vaccinated. So we're at the point now where this is undeniable, and part of what my divine job upon the planet is to be an overseer, an overviewer, looking at what is occurring on both timelines, the lower timeline of destruction, and of course the higher timeline of construction. But when we go and look at the lower timeline, Femke keeps most updated on that for us. A couple of the things recently with New Zealand, what a whistleblower has put out about the vaccines, which to my knowledge is going viral around the world, as well as what was put in an Italian and German newspaper the other day about a health official. I believe that it's quite possible. I cannot substantiate this now. Someone else might be able to. But, he's been charged with murder, I believe, but I cannot confirm this readily yet, because you need to discern when you're reading papers, what is actually truth that is being put in them as well, because you also have part of the world that is part of the collective that is also trying to create. So, meaning that they will put things out sometimes that are not fully truth in the moment, but it depends on the creator that it can become truth later if it's in alignment with total goodwill and with the ascension. So, there are times that does occur as well. So I'll stop there. Just before I stop, the symptoms have, pretty. I was told to put atypical because there's been different symptoms with this, and also some more intense in the last few days as well. And some of the feedback I've been getting from the outside is that, it's wiped some right out into their beds. And I also felt with my physical vessel like a total rigor mortis state, if you will, the other day. And I got up, Father said, okay, stretch, stretch, stretch. And so I had to keep stretching. So it feels pretty good now, the physical vessel. But let me say, I can see how some have been totally incapacitated with it. But I'll stop there. Any questions or any comments so far?
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
Yolanda, go ahead.
Yes, well, I would like to comment what happened to me. around the 12th to the 14th approximately, you know. When it started actually the 12th at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was at bed obviously, and the pain and all my spine, from the bottom of my spine to up my head, and all the front pressure I had on my forehead and head, it was just, I would say, nearly unbearable. I couldn't be laying in any posture or anything, you know, comfortable. So I was awake for a long time. In the morning, everything eased. Whenever I probably fell asleep again around 6 something in the morning or 7 o'clock, and it was more ease. I still had a little bit of pressure in my head, but and the pressure comes and goes, depends, you know. But now my back. But the thing is, when I woke up, I felt lighter. If I should describe it somewhere or another, you know, it's like this. It's like these little tensions that you had around the body nearly has dissipated. So it was very interesting, and I have to say it was also a lovely feeling after all. What I feel now with what happened, what's happening with this energies income. Thank you.
Oh, exactly. Thank you so much, Yolanda. You know, just a couple days ago, also in the sun, uh, I am given, let's say, messages from reading the photograph of the sun, if you will, what I put out quite a bit from space weather. And one of the depictions I saw there was a feminine with her entire backbone, with a tailbone being, let's say, also activated. I did not fully know what the full message is yet because it's ongoing. But in the least, you know, it indicates that yes, the spine was being worked on the feminine as well. And you know, with that, so, and thank you with that. And what I experienced with the physical vessel, it was all of the muscles, every muscle in the body. Like if you did a triathlon, you know, of something, not just a marathon, that it was something very intense. Like you went through a pretty intense workout. Yeah. So, and that was 12/12, and I think it was 2 days ago. Yeah, and that'd be the 13th when I saw that as well.
All
Thank you.
right. Wow. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, you know, it's they can be pretty intense, but it's like you said as well. You know, Yolanda, it, it's upgrades to the physical vessel, and that's what it is. And it's so, you know, it's amazing how they can be so intense and then go just in the blink of an eye as well. And, you know, for others that are listening, this is one of the telltale signs, you know, that these are indeed ascension symptoms, that there's nothing wrong, if you will, with the physical vessel when these sort of weird things occur. So beauty.
Absolutely, Rick. Because I know it's an upgrade, and because this is what I have felt in a physical level, but I also know that emotionally, you know, on my something has fallen away from my way of feeling towards things. You know, emotionally, how I used to perceive things. Put it that way. You know, so that has also it's like it has like opened, not so narrow view, but more open view about everything. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly.
Yeah, no, you've done fine, and if you're just finished right now, I'll continue on with a little bit of what you were speaking about.
Yeah, yeah, I've finished now. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
right. So you know what is occurring and what ones are taught as you go through your mastery of your fears and your emotions, as Yolanda said, and also at mastering the pain, in such a way that you're consciously yourself working with the pain. By with each bit that you energetically and consciously master yourself, it does uplift the consciousness. And it does this because you are mastering aspects of fear. And it is very powerful, very enlightening, and very uplifting after the fact. And to assist with this, it's for ones, it is instantaneous and then it will come back. And the reason why we don't have the entire environment up to that high vibration yet, and this is important with what we're doing overall with the ascension. But individually, one thing Femke and I come up last night in a discussion again, it's the importance when you're feeling pain, and especially intense pain, even if you do have a physical ailment, that is with the physical vessel. One of the most important things is to separate your energetic being from the physical vessel, but don't take it any further than about 3 feet away. So, what you imagine, one of the ways that you do this is with your consciousness, connecting with all of your energy. And let's say if you're laying on the bed, you consciously, while you're in your physical body, take your energy and your consciousness, and you can envision yourself about 3 feet above the bed, like an astral projection, looking down on your vessel. And by doing this, you are entering a higher state of your divine ability, where you also can access more tools to heal the physical vessel by being above it, because you're in a much higher state of being. And you can also deliver, if you will, more of the instructions and commands to heal the physical vessel. Now, it is usually not instant. It takes a time, but the more you trust and believe in that, when you need to do it, the more powerful it comes and the more amazing results you will have. Now, with this, I also need to say that there is what we call uh, benevolent negativity. And I need to say that because it is important as well that there are negative things that will occur sometimes. And let's say incapacitating pain that keeps you immobile, is it? I believe that's the right word. Uh, that keeps you bedridden anyway, to keep it as simple. Know that once you're on your divine journey and you know that an ascension is occurring, and that your physical vessel is undergoing evolution within, changing to the crystalline, and then you begin to experience incredible pain. It's also important to know that this can be labeled as benevolent negativity. And sometimes it's to prevent you from going somewheres that you need to remain, let's say, stationary. So you can be used in this way, if you will, divinely, to ensure that you don't go anywhere. So you can look at it as that as well, and this is true, what I'm saying in respect to that. So there was something else I was going to say with this, Yolanda, but I'll stop there.
No, wow. I think it was a powerful, powerful information, this, Rick. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, it'll come back. There was another part I wanted to add to this, but it'll come back after. Anyone else wish to speak? We're currently on the topic of the symptoms that ones have been experiencing the last few days in this important time.
Hello? Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me? Yes, go ahead, Andrea.
I had a wonderful experience today. My back on and off, and it's like crunchy. Well, sometimes it doesn't even to loosen it up. So this morning I just had a little brain fart, and I thought about one of those, the one in the ocean where you suggested to go and send light to that area. And you had stated that there was a lot of energy in that area. And I find when there's solar flashes and I just hold space because I don't know what I'm doing, right? And all of this energy flowed through me. It was quite intense. In that area at this time, and it it helped relieve, I'd say, 85% of my physical being uncomfortable. So I don't know if solar flashes and touching into or tapping into certain part of the ley lines do this, but I've noticed that when I tap into certain energy centers, um, that I get healing when there's no solar flashes. That's all I have to say. That was my experience. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. With also to assist with your healing, everything assists. You have, let's say, a portal that an energetic etheric portal that you have in your bedroom where when you rest. And for you, those of you that have what Orthodox medicine calls tinnitus, the ringing in the ears and the tones. This is actually your frequency that you're hearing in other frequencies. And so when you lay down in the night and when you're perfectly still, you can begin when you listen, then you can hear the tone, the frequency, if you will. And one of the things that you can do, if it's a constant higher pitch frequency, what you wish to look for is to maintain that higher pitch, let's say by listening with your left ear, but with your right ear, look for to see if you're able to isolate a lower pitch that might be a little bit staticky. And the way that you locate this is with your consciousness that you want to put yourself into healing mode. So by doing this, you listen for the high pitch, but then consciously you say you want two pitches of frequency. And what you want is the range in between the lower static frequency and the higher pitch. You want the range of the frequency that heals whatever you have within your body. And you can, let's say, what you're actually doing is creating your own med bed, if you will, by doing this. And of course, the more that you practice it and become familiar with it, the stronger and more that it works as we keep raising the planetary vibration. So you can put yourself, if you will, in these healing bubbles. But the truth is we're still in this energetic environment that is influenced by so many that are not awake, and what they are generating out in reality is misery, animosity, fear, and these sort of things. So, if you go to your bed in the night and you heal yourself appreciably, and then you find more inflictions, the next day and what have you. It's coming from mostly the outside environment, and this is also with the ascension why many are awakening and coming into their power, because we're leaving behind these lower density energies that is responsible for the pain, but we're still here in this reality yet. And of course, everything that we do to relieve the stress is raising the vibration on the planet. And of course, GPMS dot world is the instrument, that does it for all, and that is getting bigger day by day, and it's having more of an energetic impact, because what it is, it's the full abundance and freedom for humanity, and it's hope being actualized. It's not a false hope, meaning that it's substantiated from the present world to take us into the new world. So it's all inclusive in its design, and it's divine design to do this. So, a nice while, we're still contending with the evolution and transitioning of the masses into this huge energetic vehicle or arc, the GPMS dot world. And so this is occurring as well, but getting back on track. But before I do, see, GPMS dot world heals the world as well, because it does it in the simple way that it eradicates all stress upon the planet. And with great joy and happiness, there is no pain with it, if you will. So it's an energetic, divine vehicle to do this, and it takes everyone in to the heaven on earth scenario. So, yourself, if you're feeling a little bit malaise or a little bit ill, uh, when you got, a party of 4 or 5 that comes to visit and cheers you up, and you feel better. So, look at that as a micro example of the big example, what we're doing for the world with this. But again, nice while you're given all of these different tools and new techniques and modalities as well to heal yourself, raise your vibration, empower yourself, and to raise the consciousness as well. But it's so important through uh, the purity and always into your best ability making the higher choices in any situation, and of course keeping all of the highest virtues of integrity, gratitude, kindness, keeping all those intact and utilizing them to the fullest when you can, when you interact with any outside as well. So all together, by doing this, we are changing the world very quickly, the energy of the world, and it's what heals all. Many are still there with thinking, and I need to say this truly, it's a misconception that you do not need to individually heal the people first. And Father came to me when I was, the way I heal is by giving the information. It's not much hands on healing. Femke, in that respect, is a better healer than what I am. I heal with the word and the vibration of the voice, and opening up the other's consciousness to their tools so they can heal themselves, if you will. Uh, but having said this, when we brought out GPMS.world about 3 years ago or close to it, Father, when it was time to put that out, Father said to me, Rick, it's time. You'd be a billion years all of you here trying to individually heal other individuals. You got to do the one thing. It's got to be done now. You've got to begin it that heals the entire planet. But it's much more than that, as anyone can see that knows what GPMS.world is. But getting back here, yeah, so you can use your frequencies, so you can do those consciously and assign them. And also, you can use them. It's good to practice on your pets as well. So, if you have, let's say, your pet is got a sore leg. We have one guy here. He's got a sore leg that we keep giving him a little bit of energy, and they can feel it too, and they know it. And so what you do is, what I do is, I get a couple frequencies, which is the healing frequency is within the range of these two. So you don't need to assign a number to it. You don't need to identify it other than, okay, you just want the range of the frequency that you're going to apply, and you put it out through your hand. It's best to put it out through your left hand when you're healing like this. And you also can bring in extra light through the right hand and to give it a push. And you can assign a frequency and hold your left hand about 3 inches from the animal that you are healing. And you also with what I'm doing here with the little guy, Rocket, we call him. He's a stray dog. And it only can be done intermittently by eye. Ideally, what I do know I can do, as many of you can, is you can heal yourself instantly. But there's also the divine protocol, if you will, and the respect of the soul's contract. So there's more involved, and that's why it doesn't occur instantly. However, the more that you do it, and the more that, let's say, it's divinely approved, the more you will see it work. And as we keep raising the vibration upon the planet again, your healing gifts get stronger and stronger. So it's good to practice on the animals and watch their reaction and with it, and it can be fun as well, and also at seeing the effects of your actual healing prowess as well. I'll stop there. Anyone else wish to speak?
Hi, Rick. Just the synchronicity. You said your little dog there is Rocket. We were, after visiting the donkey sanctuary today, we went to an apple farm, and the dog that was resident there was also called Rocket. So more synchronicities between us and yourselves. Love, light, and gratitude.
Wow. Yeah. It's just amazing. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Little Rocket. And then the bigger guy here is Rocco, as you know. Yeah. And interesting as well, they are being slightly affected, if you will, by uh, some of the energetic things that are occurring upon the planet, energetic themes that are very symbolic and also go deeper, that will reflect into the physical. Like, use example, if you're a kidney, that means, there's fear to deal with. So you can apply these energetics to actual symptoms. So having said this, we have Rocco, the German Shepherd, out here. He got in a little spat with another dog, and his eye got a bit injured. But with this, also, you would, at the same time, what I was seeing with, there's messages from lots that I deal with every day and get updates. The eyes, if you will, was one of the common themes that began to come out the other day. And with the leg, it's let me say, I believe with the rocket's leg here, it's got to do with Achilles' heel, and this would be connected to one of the activations Tony, Nessa, and perhaps a few others of you here might have participated in Yolanda activation we were doing. I don't know, a few weeks ago, which was connected to Bile Island, I believe was the name, but there was an ascension gate on there. So you get these attributes, anomalies, these side effects that they're energetic, but then they'll take a physical form as well. And this occurs sometimes to let you know how much of an imprint historical beliefs had on creation, how it's involved into the timelines and how it affects it. And having said that, just before I came on here, you know, what I knew from Father a while ago, but I was looking at utopia and looking at more of the definitions of that. And at the bottom, just before I come on here, I had to look at where it's expressed, I believe, in the Old Testament and within Revelations, somewheres in there that to some degree that ones may, let's say, forget it was ever this harsh on the planet, that the memory could be wiped and meaning thinking that it's all good. As far as I know, we're still going through the transitioning, but what I can say is that there's some point in the future that yes, all of the negativity in the negative history has to be erased. And one of the reasons why, if it's kept into the consciousness as conscious co creators, you would be creating the same thing because you're energizing it. So it's important to know that even at times now with any of you, like if you're getting memory loss or when your consciousness becomes foggy, if you will, these are all divine things as well, because you know, with certain memories of your past and especially traumatic memories, you got to, you know, go through your process, forgive them, deal with them, detach from them. And then you detach from them knowing that any traumatic experience you had was for only your value and you could not change it at all, no matter what you do. It had to occur. It was part of your soul's script, if you will, to learn you and to give you the value, but also importantly to give you the experience. And although it may have been, you know, very sinister what occurred to you or very traumatic, you had the experience, you know what it's like, and what it does, it equips you with the values at identifying with another that has gone through those things that you can assist later. And it's important that you do not let the traumatic experience control you. So you need to discern it and overpower it in the least. But what I am saying, another part of the process that comes later is that, yeah, you'll forget all about it, or you'll just have it that, as I said, that it had to occur, and you take the value from it. I'll stop there. Thank you. Any other comments or topics you wish to bring up?
Yes, Rick, I have a question. This is Dina.
Yes, go ahead, Dina.
Hi. Um, my chakras, especially the lower ones, we talked about that a couple of days ago. Feel swollen, and not all the time, but sometimes I feel pregnant. It's really odd.
Oh, thank you so much, Dina, for bringing this up. You know, this is a very important symptom at this time. So you'll have like what is a false pregnancy or false pregnant symptoms. But what's so important is that we are in a very important birthing time, a birthing canal in reality. And, one thing that is also written is that Jesus also alluded to labor pains, at the time of his coming. And so it's very important to keep that in mind, knowing that these are also attributes of and indicative of this very important time that we are in. And let me say with this also, when you're connected with the planet, with Mother Earth, and of course, Mother as a whole, you will, when we're going through major timeline shifts or even, a noticeable timeline shift, it is common to have pregnancy symptoms and even labor pains, if it's a big enough timeline. And I know Femke several nights ago had a couple quick labor pains, but also I believe it might have been Nessa as well, and a few others right around that same period of time expressed having symptoms like this as well. So, see, energetically, the more connected you are to creation, mother and father, the more powerful you are, the more virtuous and pure you are, then you're also getting the energetic reflections into the physical. And you may get a laugh out of this, but sometimes where I'm connected to Mother as well and Gaia and the planet, that when it's major timeline shifts forward, and it happened, I don't know, maybe several days ago, uh, my left, what's the word for it? My left breast swole up almost twice as big as the masculine right side. And for me, I know how to read it. So, I said, okay, um, Femke had a couple labor pains, and here's my feminine side also responding to energy that is in alignment with birthing. So the common theme is the birthing of the new timeline, and it produces these sort of symptoms as well. And of course, the swelling, as you said too, Dina. And, with these, really look at them and don't have any concern with them, if you will, if you know they're energetic, and observe them and learn from them, and do what you feel. But I'll stop there.
I had one other question. Back a while back, you were talking about the third eye, the right. You could ask a question. Right is yes, and left is no. Sometimes mine is wrong. It's not always right. Am I doing something wrong?
Why do you say it's not always right?
Because I'll test it and I'll like say, okay, is somebody else in the house that's sitting in a certain chair? And if it says yes, I'll get up and go check, and it won't be. It'll be wrong.
Well, what if there is someone else sitting there, but you just can't see them?
Well, I would say their name. I would say, so and so sitting on the couch, and I'll get up and they're not sitting on the couch.
All right. With this also, and this is a good important point, sometimes it's not about what is there where you're going, it's
Okay.
about the journey as well. So if you, let's say, you were inspired to say, is someone sitting on my couch? And so you got a yes on that. So you get up to go out to look, but sometimes it might not be about that. It's about you actually moving. But also, very importantly, Dina, when you ask the question, if someone is sitting on my couch and you're given yes, but then you doubt it enough to get up, to
Yeah.
go out, to look, then you're
Uh,
introducing questioning and fear into it as well. So then, and because of that, what you do is you diminish your power, the vibration. You lower the vibration because doubt is fear, meaning that there could actually have been someone sitting there, but where you went into doubt that they could vanish. And this is very, very true. So it's important. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong, but it's very good that you brought this up right now with this discussion because it is so important. And what I say is always trust it, that even though you think it's wrong, there may be another explanation that you just didn't see yet. And so don't question it, because when you begin to question it, you're entering doubt into how it works, and it will begin to distort it as well. So just to keep practicing it and keeping it clean. And also, yes, you will get what looks like a false reading at times just to test you as well, on your trust in your ability. So, what I suggest is keep with it and keep doing it, and don't question it at all. And you'll watch it advance even much more forward.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else?
Hi, Rick.
Hey, brother Terry.
Hello, mate. Rick, I experienced on the 10th, 11th, and 12th bloating and really, really severe pains in my lower stomach, my bowel, really. So I took to 2 days of fasting, whether this was an ascension symptom or not, and the severe headaches as well. And when I took to my bed, I was finding it very difficult to sleep. Were these ascension symptoms?
Yeah, indeed, Terry. Also, yeah, the last week or so, we've had important flares as well. And for us, for the masculine, with a certain frequency that was coming in, it would wake I up. I wouldn't sleep in the night and being awakened and wide awake at times. And this X flare thing yesterday, that almost knocked me out sitting here at the computer. And I said there was two, and there was, because I felt both of them, how it just make just made me almost falling to sleep. But getting back to what you said, excellent that you did fast with this as well, and that's a good thing that for others, um, because also the fasting does. Um, a couple important things. So by fasting, you are retaining more of your energy and you're also heightening your energy power. But when you're fasting, it's important to drink water, to keep water in your body for your electrical system. It's better to fast with water than without, because your water is very important. Hydrogen is a very important, let's say, molecule of creation. So you don't wish to deplenish your body of water. It is very important. Um, what else
Which is
was I
what I did
looking at?
for
Go
two
ahead,
days.
Terry.
For 2 days, I was just drinking hydrogenated water for 2 solid days, and the bloating and the symptoms just disappeared after the 2 days of the fasting.
Yeah, yeah, but it was still pretty tense. Yeah. So the hydrogenated water, yeah, that's very important as well. And had to suggest that several times during, let's say, the spike protein, because of the cavitation results that it was causing when one was, if you're not vaccinated and you were in proximity to another vaccinated one, within you, because of the energy they were emitting, it was causing extra free radicals of oxygen within your physical vessel. And the hydrogenous water, what that did is because it had an extra hydrogen in it, then it would take the free radical out of your body, and you would not feel as erratic, if you will, for any extended periods. And, you know, this was given with ones that, let's say, were unvaccinated, but were working in areas where their colleagues were all vaccinated, you know, in that environment. And they would come home in the nights or whatever, but after several days become more and more depleted with their energetic fields, you know, very chaotic to the extent you're getting shocks from everything as well, because it was causing a lot of complications. But hydrogenated water is very good for any free radicals of oxygen that is in the body due to various things at times. Um,
I have another question, Rick. I
yeah.
have two very close friends who have consented to GPMS, but they're still eating meat. They're not sort of following the protocols which you suggest. Can you tell me what will happen to them because they're not following the protocols that you suggest?
Oh, well, this is each soul's choice, you know, and that's on the individual soul level. It doesn't have anything really directly to do with GPMS, if you will. So the ones eating meat, if you will, they evolved themselves. And one of the main things of GPMS is that there is no discrimination. Everyone keeps their own beliefs, but what does occur, you know, is that ones do become more and more every minute, actually every day, are becoming vegetarian. So it's a mixed bag out there, and let me say, it's something that is taken care of divinely. And you know, let's say for the individual, when it's time for anyone to stop eating meat, they will either do it or they'll become so sick that they cannot eat it. So, you know, that's with them. I like to use myself with cigarettes here. You know, we smoke organic right now again, thanks to a few that have sent us some. And, you know, with cigarettes, it's organic, but there also comes the time for I, with the nicotine, that with this physical vessel, it is no longer required, meaning that I quit. And also with the cigarettes, one of the uses is a grounding agent for my energy. So it helps to keep me also here in this reality, but it also keeps me connected to the etheric realm, if you will, because of what it does with the humanoid brain. But having said this, there, you know, I just asked Father, I think, I don't know, maybe 4 days ago again, is it time for me to quit smoking? And his answer immediately, no. And I say, okay, that's good. It's not yet, but I know it's coming. So the point I'm making with it, you know, in this full 5D world, I don't believe anyone will be, let's say, smoking, or if they do, it'll be either ceremonial and organic. But that's on the individual basis. With GPMS, it's taking humanity to the civilized state. Right now, humanity is not civilized in this world. So, meaning that they can be part of GPMS because it's let's say their divine direction, and as they go forward, you will see ones quit eating meat. But also when ones join, another interesting thing, when they join GPMS.world, it's such a powerful divine energetic vehicle, if you will, that if they have um, important tests in their life and in their soul's experience that they must master, they'll even get ejected from GPMS for a little while until they get these things done so that their consciousness and their energy, if you will, raises. But we have in GPMS, we have children, and we have quite a mix in there, and there is no, let's say, set rule, if you will, on that who is in there. It's bringing everyone together just with the simple choice. Do you want this new world? And once you say yes, then you're in alignment with it, and good things begin to happen personally with you and to you to bring you in even more alignment. But we have so many different souls that plays different roles in taking it forward. So again, you have a mixed bag with that. If that answered what you asked.
Yes, it has. Thanks very much, Rick.
Thank you, Tony. Or Terry, brother. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Hi, Rick. Nessa here.
Hey, Nessa, go ahead.
I just want, Saoirse May is beside me. She's 10. And on the morning of the 12th, now in certain times during our travels and our mission, Saoirse May gets, during the dense energies, she gets diarrhea and vomiting. Like she knows how to manage it now. But as she's here beside me, could you explain a little bit of the process for her and why it happens? Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. With these processes, with defecation, let's say with diarrhea and urination, with your physical vessel, these are two uh, detoxifiers of the body, if you will, of the physical body, but also with your empathic abilities as you become stronger in your energetic work and your divine prowess, then also, let's say, if you can imagine yourself doing divine work, but that you need to collect negative energy from somewheres. So what you'll do is one of the ways that you do that is you're a magnet, you'll collect it, but you consciously know what's occurring. And then you can get symptoms, let's say like diarrhea, that once you've got it mostly transmuted, that there's a lot of negativity can come out as well. And so it's perfectly fine with this to experience that and to know, yeah, that it's really true how the energy affects you and how it can have these effects. Um, I don't know if I fully explained that, Nessa. Seems like I'm forgetting or left something out.
With Alfie, his
Try that again.
oh, with Alfie, he has fits of rages that we have to support him through that. We're not able to verbalize with him, but we understand what's happening because you can sense that there's either a change, whether solar or whether there's something going on in the collective, and you can tell by Alfie's moods. With Saoirse May, it was the morning of the 12th. It's very she knows how to handle it now, so she goes through it and then it's over. So it's over as fast. That's why we know it's not anything to do with sickness because it's over pretty quickly she masters it, and then we can go do things. She's great at looking after herself. She's very good. So it's interesting how the children are responding to these times, because I'm speaking to other parents along the soul groups, and their children are having different responses and different detoxes, and in the forms of flus and throats and ears. So it's very interesting. The children are having the Ascension symptoms too.
Yeah, thank you so much with that, Nessa. Also, it's given me information on what is happening with the children. And of course, we know everything is a micro example of the macro. And in this respect, what you're sharing, then it's happening on a much wider scale worldwide too, which is great, meaning that, the children, if we will, as star seeds come pretty much prepared. But the thing is, if you take a child, let's say born 10 years ago, they're still born in a certain density, a certain vibration of reality. But if you take the vibration of now and compare it to 10 years ago, the vibration was lower. So this also means that the children periodically need to acclimatize as well, to the new vibrational environment. And this involves, ascension symptoms. So thank you for bringing this up. But with Saoirse May and Alfie there, and what your whole family is doing as a divine team is, totally amazing. So for the viewers here, we are in contact on a regular basis, and Nessa and Tony, they share what their family is doing divinely, and it is totally amazing. But the children, because they're in such a heightened environment, are also becoming more empathic, and more of their gifts as well, divine gifts, will come online. And let me say, we all have every magical gift that you ever could think of, and even more. But what's occurring is that only certain ones have certain gifts turned on as we go up the vibrational ladder. Um, but having said this, the children are much more quicker to develop their gifts as well, because they were born in a more recent, higher vibration. If you take a 50-year-old, if you will, there's much memory imprint in the physical vessel that needs to be cleared. So there's a lot more involved, because you also have the energetic history that was imprinted within the memory of the cells, and of course your eating habits and everything. So it's quite a difference between an empathic child and an empathic adult, meaning that their physical vessels are much more advanced, if you will, than ours. And to some degree, um, but what I need to say also, it's important to keep an eye on their gifts as well, to understand that this is going on with the children, and also, to share any information or knowledge about what is actually occurring as well, to again eliminate any fear that some parents may have with their children, what is happening. And we have two contrasting timelines as well. So one thing with the children, where they're so advanced, they could also be in the company of parents that are also not awakened yet, and that could complicate it a little bit more. But I don't want to create and go deep into what I was just speaking about with that. But anything else on that, Nessa?
No, thanks, Rick. That's great. Lots of love.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions or wish to speak?
I have another question.
Yes, go ahead, Dina.
The other day, somebody was telling me that you have to be baptized to, they're still in a different, they're they're Catholic and they're in a different, but I was like, no. But then I started thinking, I don't know if you've talked on this topic yet, but I have three grandchildren that are not baptized, and of course I am, but I, I, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
All right. Thank you, Dina. You have some dogs out here. um, just give me a moment and I'll come right back. And this is such an important, just take a break for a moment. And this is such an important question I'll answer in a moment.
Okay.
All right, I'm back here. Dina, with it becomes the individual's choice if they wish to be baptized or not. But also, let me say, there is um, no requisite. It doesn't have to be done. The ones can make the choice with their consciousness in the moment, and this is what is beautiful. With the overall ascension, it is not, if you will, in quotations, cultish. It's not. It's open-mindedness and respecting each one's individual beliefs and consciousness, except for the main things that I put out, meaning that these are best practices, if you will. Don't eat meat or give it up. Don't eat or don't drink alcohol. These are important things, but yet at the end of the day, it is always the individual's choice. But nothing restricts one, other than I believe those, and of course, it depends on the individual's lust as well. These things are worked on an individual level, but no, you don't need to be baptized. It becomes the individual's choice. But if they feel they need to be, it's great as well because it's part of their journey. But it doesn't need to be done. Does that answer it, Dina?
Yes, it does. Yes. And also, we're talking about family. I'm helping raise my three grandchildren, and so they're all living here with the mother, and everybody with my husband is in very fear. They're always fighting. It's very chaotic. And then they don't really know what I do. Not they have a teeny tiny idea. They can't even, fathom it. So, and I question myself because here I have a spaceship out here that I'm connecting with and then sending out this um, frequency. But then how do I have my family here that is all in this fear?
Well, perfectly. You are an example of the duality, like so many of us, and it's perfectly fine. You're advancing, and let's say you're a mainstayer for your family right now, even though. Um, they don't know it. It's important for you to continue doing what you're doing. The ship is real. You're interacting with your Merkaba ship, which is so important. It's advancing you in your energy, which is changing the energetic environment let's say where your grandchildren and what have you are at. It may be chaotic, yes, because the light coming from you on an energetic, good subliminal way will bring anything to the surface that doesn't serve the future. And the best way to address this when you see, let's say, arguments or some infighting coming up, address it from the highest and give interject with the higher consciousness reasoning and rationale so that they're able to overcome being controlled, by the anger and the issues. And fully, yes, I know, and we do know how delicate of a situation it is, because uh, you are in two different worlds. You're not of this world, if you will, and but you
Yeah.
also are part of it.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. I feel like I'm double life. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Yet, yeah, exactly. So each just do your best, and just keep in your full trust in your knowing of what is happening, and we keep doing our best to get to the finish line with it. The great awakening and everything is not happening just by chance. It's not something random, meaning that it's happening for a reason. And there is the orchestrated or preordained pathway, if you will, to the fifth dimensional state of being. So each one in their own way knows this, that everything is happening for a reason, and that everything you're doing is not for nothing. It's having a definite impact, but what's important is not to have expectations on it, how it should be changing reality, and accept it, but also when you get divine prompts to nudge it forward, pay attention to those and respond to them. I'll use myself for an example here. I had to put out a post today. It was a message from Father. And, for Rick, I'd rather, as I said before, I told Femke, just be in peace and love. And I don't really enjoy dealing with putting out, let's say, what you would call a lower vibrational post, which I put out today, but it was for the others and it had to be done. So, this is an example of following your prompts and trusting, and know that it is the good means to the end of what we're doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Yeah, you're a great soul.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
I have a question. Thank you
Yes.
for your. Oh, I haven't been on long, but I've listened to you a couple times. I never know when you're on, to be honest. So that's my problem. Can you define the psyops that have been done on us in these chats? I have my thoughts. Do you have anything to share on that?
Yes, I can. Would you wish to be more specific? Did you say in chats before I begin? Could you just be a little bit more particular? Thank you.
Yeah, it's they try to see if people are going to use their discernment, or they hype us up and then people get depressed. Do they need us for the algorithms to change the planet? You know, what's going on?
All right, thank you. I'm considering how to begin with this. First thing, what I need to say, yes, psyop brainwashing programs were very real. And I like to use it in past tense because, again, I'm a creator and I don't wish to, if it's still out there now to whatever degrees, I don't wish to energize it. to any extent. But let me say, this is one of, the amazing great obstacles with this ascension that we had to overcome as well. And it's been a tedious task, what also involved with positrons, which are photons, protons coming from the sun. We also had to, let's say, direct them and integrate them into the power grid and into the internet. Because what was occurring is 72% of the internet in the electrical grid about a year or more ago was negatively charged. So what this meant is anyone in their home was also contending with a continuous negative ion energy in their space. Anyone on the phone were, receiving, let's say, negative ions because it was over capacitated with negativity with many electrons. And this also was part of brainwashing, if you will, at one of the big levels. With the PSYOPs programs, yeah, there were so many that were developed and just conscious programs and so many things that were written that were out there. And having said this, you know, to put it simple, anything that takes you into complexity, that loops you back in any way to the old, then it should be viewed as, do you choose to follow that, or do you choose to go with your discernment, as you're saying, with your heart, what is right? So it's important to discern the direction where any narrative will take you. And part of what I do and others of what we do, there are in the beginning, there were good intentions with some narratives set in play, but it is not the full liberation of the planet. And it can lead ones, if you will, just back into the same old looping enslavement if they continue to follow those. And mainly it's anything, what I wish to say, that involves thinking that an external value like silver or gold is more valuable than the intrinsic value of the individual. Because again, if I use that as an example, well, you look at who owns most of the gold and the silver upon the planet right now, and you look at who dictates the prices of this. And when you look at who dictates it, it is the big banks, the conglomerates, if you will, that actually run the financial markets and put a price on it. So, in reality, as we know, if everything was just, the price of gold right now should have been, let's say, 50, 60, $70,000 an ounce, but it's not, because of those that control it. And what GPMS does, it circumvents all of that, places everyone in the highest, most altruistic, egalitarian system, where everyone is above that and no one is controlled. And more importantly, that no one can be bought, because in the new system, everyone has everything and they cannot be incentivized or enticed, if you will, to do wrong against others. And again, the simple foundation of law with what we're doing with GPMS is do no harm and do not engage in anything that does it. When you look at this capitalistic system today with the sickening greed, but when you look at the poverty it caused as a result of what it is and how it works, um, we are not going back into any of that. So this is why the control if you will, is being shifted, and there is no financial markets in the future. There is nothing more valuable than the soul theirself in the very near future, and it's the full abundance and freedom for the planet. Uh, with these psyops and brainwashing things, the MK Ultra program was very real, and over the course of the years that I've been assisting ones, I've encountered two very intense, um, let's say, divine ones that I assisted with that to some degree. One, she come out; the other, I think she went back in it. It was hard to break it, but it was very interesting and very real and obvious how certain words would trigger her right back into it, and that she would begin to attack I, with just certain words. But what I did is I was able to find out the certain words that were triggering the intense MK Ultra to put her in a psychopathic mode, if you will. And she was a nurse in the army, and I don't need to take that much further. But yeah, these were very real, uh, real programs. Do you have anything else on that
Yeah,
reconnect?
I do. It's a specific thought. And I was involved in it early on. I called it the flavor of the day, and Heather's on here. She will remember it. They would come in and trash. So one of the instances early on was negative 48. And I would say, he's not a nobody, he's a somebody with a whole lot more yet to reveal. And I trust it's God's plan. And then they sent people in to attack me. Who's the author of confusion? And I said, Satan, blah, blah, blah. The flavor of the day then went to like six more truthers. Not one person stood up for that flavor of the day that they were trashing except me. And I think they were trying to say, can you use your discernment? Nope. They all just went with, I didn't like the way he prayed. I didn't like his hat. I never did feel good about him. So were they trying to break it? Or were they showing how stupid we all were and we couldn't think for ourselves? Anyway, I know I'm part of it somehow.
I didn't quite, it was a little bit difficult for me to hear you plainly with it. But, what I will say in a lot of these groups as well is that there's also, do I need to go into that? No, maybe I won't. Um, again, it's about also learning your discernment, as you said, and looking at things from at least a neutral and open-mindedness position. But it's also important to know that there is, quote, controlled opposition, unquote, that is out there, to the respect that it's leading a lot of the awakened community astray. So what I need to say, we divinely we knew this, and over the course more so of the last year, a lot of those false narratives are being broken down, and it involves a higher level of energetics as well. And what it does, it forces the ill intent, the evil that is behind any of these more brainwashing false narratives to show itself more and more. And by doing this, it makes it more blatant and easy for ones to see also more of the truth as it destructs. So there's a lot that is occurring congruently, simultaneously at the same time with these. And not sure, Reconnect, if that fully answered your question, but could you be perhaps more precise if that didn't answer it? Thank you.
No, that's great. I've just always felt it was this high up. So I'll end with this. The pattern that's going on now and has been for like 6 months. Oh, the RV is going to happen tonight at midnight. and then everybody gets hyped up. Some people say they're going to stay up all night, and then they're depressed tomorrow. And I said in a chat, I said, I heard about 6 months ago, it's called 0 point. I'm not going to get overly excited, and I'm not going to get depressed. I just say to myself, oh, well, that's good. If it happens, yay. If not, just another day. So, anyway, thank you. Yeah, I got your drift. You confirmed what I believe. Thank you. Hi, Heather.
No, thank you.
Hi,
Reconnect.
sorry, I'm in a store.
Go ahead, Heather.
I was just saying hi to reconnect. I'm in a store, so.
All right, cool. Yeah. Uh, you know what I'll say here, the RV, and I'll share, what I've been given. This RV timeline has been going on for decades, if you will, and it's like Reconnect said, it's keep pumping up and then the letdown. But what it's actually doing is, if you look at it deeper with the mechanics of creation, what you actually have is a bunch of ones that are getting excited on, let's say, an RV that is occurring, that only puts the money, if it does occur, in the hands of a few. But what you also see is within that a lot of inequality, a lot of greed as well that is associated with these things. And I need to say some of these definite, let's say, not so desirable attributes that are involved in it, because I need to say this because this is why it cannot come to fruition. It is in direct conflict with what is moral and what is equal and what is divine. Although many wish for it to be, you need to look at it again, what it's based on. A few bankers, holding gold and silver and some bonds that are going to pay some out while many others are starving. No, it's not moral, and it's savage. So these things do not come to fruition. I was doing I think it was 2018, perhaps. I was doing an interview with Linda Summers, and during that interview, one of the questions come up is the RV happening. So that was what 2000, 6, 7 years ago. And so at that time, I said, anyone can look at the interview. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. But right at that time, Father come in and he said, tell them yes. They need to say it's happening now. So right on that video, I said, well, Father, I know it's not, but I have to say what Father says. But what is funny about this is one of the reasons why I had to say that, and it's recorded on a video out there, is for the ones to put their most intent into it, that it was going to happen, so that it would advance it to the point where it had to begin to crumble with all of its support to show that it was never going to happen, if you will. So there had to be ones that were attracted into that narrative. And, in the beginnings with it was a good will intention. But the real truth also is, upon the planet, there is the spiritual war that is occurring. We already won the spiritual war, but there is the infiltration in Goodwill Ventures. The darkness, if you will, has been notorious for that in the past, manipulating and infiltrating ancient text and true knowledge and what have you. But nevertheless, to keep that simple, gpms.world, what we're doing now is the quickest and surest way to get it done for all, so that no human soul is left behind, and all boats are securely, divinely uplifted at one time. You're not leaving the control of any financial system in the hands of a few. This control, the limited control of the financial system, will be distributed amongst equally amongst everyone, if you will. So it's all designed for the very near future, and it's being done lawfully, where each one is adding their agreement. When they consent, they are making a declaration and a proclamation to the world with their unalienable rights, and also activating their full capacity to unlimitedly create money, which we can, because money would not exist if it was not for us. But part of the illusion was that uh, the value was robbed from the individual and placed on external resources like gold and silver to trick ones out of their unlimited value, to keep it simple. But in this great time, no, the value is being intrinsically restored, and not only that, being activated along with all of the God given rights, if you will, and some put a label on the God sovereign free rights as well, yeah, which is in perfect alignment for this great new world. And it's not a hopium, meaning, it's this is very real what's occurring with it, and it is the new world. And one of the things I'll openly say, there's so many that are awakened to certain levels, but they were caught up in a lot of these false narratives. And it's amazing with the brainwashing, if you will, that was there. What Reconnect said, how for a couple decades, keep getting up each day thinking it's going to be that day after 20 years. How many times or more, how many times must one be fooled before they really see the truth? But let's get off of that topic. Any other questions?
Can I end with a question? So you're saying no RV, no appointments. I think most of us that bought this thought we were going to get to bless a ton of people. So now I'm really confused where we would be, but thank you. That's it. We'll get off.
No, it's great. Hey, Reconnect, one of the things that you can share for anyone, let's say if there was the chance that it was coming to fruition, and let's look at some of the AA notes, if you will, the Zimbabwe notes. So if it was actually coming to fruition, and let's look at some dinar, and let's look at some dong, if you will, you would not be able to buy these currencies online at a fraction of the price. You need to know that these currency exchangers would be keeping it all for themselves, that they would not be putting it out. So if it was ever to come to fruition, one of the things is that one could possibly check online, and when you saw you could not no longer buy any, that might be an indication that, yeah, it's about to come to fruition. But I only put that out there as something for someone to consider.
Thank you. That's what I hold to.
No, you're welcome. We just openly discuss it. Any other questions or comments? And I'll have a check, see how long we've been on here.
I actually do, if you don't mind. One more question. Um, when you hear the Father, do you hear him with your ears or do you hear him internally?
That is a perfect question. Thank you so much, Dina. And the reason I'm laughing is because, let's say, in some of the conversation with Father a couple days ago, I needed to be prepared for this time, and I knew it because here's how it comes. Very, very rarely does Father speak from the sky with an audible voice, but it has occurred to us. Most of the time, it is just a telepathic communication with how would I describe it? There's no voice. Then there is also the time with the voice that is also inside of the head, if you will. Then there's also the time of the voice that is outside, let's say about 6 inches or maybe a foot away from your ear. So it is different at times. And what I also use to keep it simple upon the planet for what I do, I use the messaging system that Dina you're using. I love that because it gives quick, easy answers when I'm navigating through the day doing things. Yeah, so it's a. I'm laughing one time. I'm laughing because one time I was picking mushrooms to sell, edible mushrooms, and I had in the forest and speaking with Gaia, Mother Earth, and Mother and Father, and having a grand old time, peaceful time in the mountains, away from, uh, you know, 20 miles away from the nearest civilization, if you will, and um, to keep it simple, I went to put my bucket down, and Father said, "Don't put it there." His voice come in my head, and I'm in the forest, far away from anything. And well, I said, "Why?" He didn't answer. I looked down. I didn't see any reason. I looked all around in the forest, thought it might have been a bear or something around, and I said, "Father, I'm not going to listen. I don't see any reason why not to set my bucket here. It's a perfect little gravel spot, and it's perfect place to set it." So I set the bucket down. I went picking for mushrooms with a smaller bucket for about 20 minutes. I come back to my big bucket. I put the little bucket inside, but I'd forgot Father had told me not to set the bucket there. And just as I'm lifting the bucket up, I hear bzzz, 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 wasps coming all around me. So, and at that same time, Father's voice laughing and rolling with uh, uh, huge bellows of laughter in my ears. And I also had to laugh as well as I'm walking very briskly away. I said, "Father, don't say it. I know you told me so." But what had occurred is there was a wasp nest under the ground, right in that gravel spot. And what I had done was set my bucket right on top of it. And, they were all in it when I set the bucket down. But when I lift the bucket up, they were ready and they all come out and they were kind of angry. But it was quite a laugh with that. Nevertheless, any other questions or comments? Well, it seems pretty quiet out there. I may end this one. There's a lot of topics I could have touched on. Importantly, Femke put it out the other day on Facebook, and I need to put it out on my Facebook timeline. It's also the um, the raising of the consciousness of the animals for this time. I believe it's dog whisperer, but also animal whisperers. And this is so important for this time. And also, it's been written about, if you will, in the great time when the lion lays down with the lamb. So not only is the human consciousness uh, what is the word? Not only is the human consciousness raising, also that of the animals as well. So, very important with the communication. And what I have taught over the years is ones when, some simple things that is common knowledge when you're communicating with your animal, your pet, to communicate with them as a soul, as a equal. And by doing that, what you do is you raise their consciousness up as well. But more importantly, there is the collective consciousness with the canines, and the felines are, I love felines, the cats, and because they have many of their multi-dimensional abilities turned on, bilocating and all of these good things. But having said this, it also telepathically, ones can speak with animals. I can with certain ones. There are some, it depends on it depends on their level of fear and aggression that the animal will have in. There may not be any connection, but it also can be developed very quickly, if you will. Your connection with speaking with the animals telepathically. I'll use the example. There was a young grizzly bear when I was in British Columbia, Canada, and he was like a dwarf. He had a very huge head on him and a small body. His head was about half of the size of his body. But my first interactions with him is that he looked at me, and I had attempted to make contact, but it was like a no-go. And about a week later, I saw him again when I was driving on a road. I was picking mushrooms and edible ones. And I was driving on a road, and I come around a turn, and he was running across in front of me. And there was a huge opening on the mountain road in the forest where they cut pulp, cut trees. And so anyways, he stops in the opening, and I stopped the vehicle, and I put the window down, and I said, "How are you doing today?" And just to openly speak. But when I did, there was a response. So I said, "Oh," because like I could telepathically hear. It was a response, a grunt or something, but it let me know that a connection was made. And what was interesting, so then I said, good. So then I said, I'm going to get my camera out on my phone. I had a little flip phone and I had a camera. I'm going to start recording. As I was recording, I said, all right. So you stand there. I said, can you sit down for us so I can, I'm recording us. So he sat down on his hind haunches. So, instantly showing and facing the vehicle, showing that there was a telepathic connection. And I said a few more things in the video as I was taking it, and he only about a minute and a half. Then he got up, and his words was, "This is boring," or "this boring," because his telepathy was just beginning. So it was not like a full sentence, but it was boring, or "this boring." And he got up and started walking away. And I was in just so much bliss with it. But magically, I'm allowed to share here what occurred is that the video I took was divinely taken off of my phone, so I didn't have the proof of it. But anyways, I have the story to share here. But importantly, yes, the interacting with the animals, and also seeding the consciousness, with the animals to see they cannot contain the aggression as well. We're going forward into the new utopia, heaven on earth scenario again, where there is not any aggression. And what this means, the whole reality cannot have any forms of aggression in it. So the animal souls will be there, but they will not, let's say, be aggressive anymore. And also, it depends how far forward you go into the future. But what I will say is that you do not require to eat anything. So the animals, one of the reasoning why they lose, uh, let's say the predator animals, the carnivores. Yeah, there, I got it. Thank you, Father. They lose that. They no longer need to eat, so they lose the aggression that is involved in hunting, if you will, other animals, and they don't need to eat. But that's that's forward for um, let's say many quite far, but for some others it is really not all that far away. It depends upon the individual soul, how what part of your stage you are in your journey and where you are going after the 5D. So you have your when you have your light body, your Merkaba activated. Well, this is a multi-dimensional ability, meaning that you can uh, literally transcend all time and space. Meaning that, yeah, you can go to a world where it's already heaven on earth, if you will, and the ability to bilocate and transport yourself consciously. But also, you know, the time travel has already been upon the planet, and I won't go much into that. But is there any other questions? Well, I haven't said this. That's about a couple, close to 2 hours. So I feel I will end this discussion, and you know, another time in the near future we can. There is so much to speak about. What I just touched on about exceeding the consciousness of the animals and your abilities, the ways that you can do that. But also, what I will say is important. Once one becomes aware of uh, accepting and knowing that everything happens for a reason, this is very important because then you're able to delve into timelines and themes, energetic themes, and also creation to trace it, to see why it happened, where did it come from, what is the message, how to utilize the information with what occurred, because it occurred for a reason, how to navigate going forward, and how to take the valuable information from what occurred, how to integrate more of this knowing to utilize and to apply to your navigation as you excel forward in your divine journey as well. So you become more integrated with creation itself, and also by doing this with your discipline, of course, divine discipline and responsibility. It is also directly connected, you know, to your manifestation. So you are looking at the mechanics and the dynamics involved in how you are able to alchemize or manifest things. So it is the divine alchemy. You could also say it is the white divine magic. And it is only white divine magic because it's based on all good intent. And So it is a purified, very powerful creational prowess is what it is. But blah, I started rambling again. So that's good for tonight. And I got to go to the washroom. And thank you all for joining. And love and light. And have an amazing evening as we day, morning, day, night, whatever, as we go forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.